Hello friends, and welcome back to my crafty space. My name is Crystal, and in today's video, I am going to be completing my first two stories using the evening story kit from Ali Edwards for StoryKitCrush. If you don't know what StoryKitCrush is, this is a challenge where you pull out a story kit or any kit that you have in your stores and do the best to use it up throughout the course of the month. This month, I'm focusing on the evening story kit, and I'm super excited to dive into the stories I've got for today. So today I am working on two of them. The first is going to go inside of a 6x8 story album that is just random stories about our family. The concept for this one is just to talk about a regular evening. What does a regular evening look like for us? And the photo that I'm pairing this one with is just a flat lay that I took of a bunch of different items that represent what a normal night would look like for our family. For the second project that I will be working on, this is going to go inside of a pocket page notebook. This is a traveler's notebook that has pocket pages in between the regular pages. And in case you are wondering where I get these from, these are from a shop called The Stamp Spot, which is in Australia. It's the only company I know of that makes these. So just in case you're wondering, that is the store where I get these notebooks from. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and put you on fast forward. And then after I get everything put together and, talk you through my process, all of that, we'll slow back down and close out for today. So let's go ahead and dive right in. All right, so to get started with today's spreads, the first thing I'm going to do is set aside the pocket page notebook spread. We'll do that second. And I'm actually going to get to work first on this one that's all about an average evening in our house. So I had previously cut a piece of a 4x6 journaling card that is the dark navy blue with the stars on top. I had cut that out before, and I believe I had trimmed it down to like 2 inches, or maybe it's 2¼ inches. It was something like that, and decided that I could actually take a little bit more off of it so that there was more room in between the journaling and the photo. The reason I'm going to add that journaling card in between is because I'm actually going to add the evening plastic title piece on top, which is white and then also see-through for portions of it. So by having it placed on top of the dark navy card, you'll actually be able to read it. Whereas if it was on white on white, it would be much more difficult to read, if at all. So that is why we have that piece there. Now for my actual journaling page, what I did is I set up in Photoshop a template where I've got 5 journaling boxes, and it's just a little itty bitty bit of text to give context to the different things that I photographed representing our night. And then I also have 5 circles, which are 3/4 inch in diameter, that I added to the page, and I put those on there in a super light gray color so that once I am ready to embellish this, I can just stick my circle stickers directly onto those spots, and I know that they will be perfectly distanced from each other. So that is a definite trick that I have if you are comfortable using Photoshop and creating templates like that as well. So once I had all of that printed out, what I did is I took a pencil and I drew a line in between the text and the circles. And then I also drew a line from the middle of where the circles are, so in between the circles, down to the bottom of the page, because I wanted to create some kind of separation with my sewing machine. I ultimately, once I get this done, I'll flip it over and decide that I want my lines to go up in between the circles as well. So I'll just grab my ruler and add some additional lines so I can stitch those as well on my sewing machine. When I am drawing lines to stitch, I always use a pencil. You can definitely erase a large portion of the pencil markings once you have the stitching on there. Some of it does remain, so I will, throw that out there. And for me, I don't terribly mind that because it gives it a little bit of additional shadowing so you can tell that the line is there. So that is what we're doing. Now, my sewing machine itself, I get a lot of questions on. This is just a super, super basic sewing machine by the brand Janome, which you can find on Amazon, but you can also find it at Joann's stores. And originally we got this sewing machine to help teach my daughter how to sew. So it's like child friendly. But it's perfect for paper crafting. So I can't recommend it highly enough. Number one, because it's small, so it doesn't take up a lot of space. And number two, because it's really simple to use, because there's not a ton of like extra bells and whistles that you don't need for paper crafting or sewing on paper crafts. So once I had my lines all ready to go, next I can go ahead and adhere everything else down onto this page. So I went ahead and put my photo up at the top. It's got, my flat lay photo that represents all the different things that we do at night, which, Aaron and I typically will have a beer on most nights, not every night, but, a lot of nights we'll have a beer together. I have his phone, which has our monitor app open on it because we typically have the monitor running so that we can tell if the kids get up. I've got some craft supplies on there because I do a lot of crafting at night. I've got a keyboard from the computer because my husband plays a lot of computer games with his friends at night. I pulled over 2 different DVDs that we have to just represent some of the shows that we watch. So I have Doctor Who, which we own the first season on DVD, but we're actually on season 12. So, we're far past that one. And then I pulled over a random anime DVD that we have because we're also right now watching an anime show one night a week. Then I've got a bin of toys because we typically pick up the basement, the playroom area every night before we sit down and relax. And then I've got a book because I typically read a book before I go to bed at night, at least one chapter in bed. So just things that represent what we do. Now, I have my evening stuck on there, so I did attach that with a tiny attacher to the card, and then I went ahead and adhered that down in between the photo and the little circle spots. Then I took those circle stickers, they're just cardstock stickers, and put them on each of the gray circles that I had created. And on top of those, I am adding the metal pieces that I felt like best correlated with what I was writing about. So like the wine glass goes to having a beer at night, and the star, I think I talked about watching shows, and the mask, I believe I talked about maybe reading at night or, something like that. I grabbed my roller date stamp, threw the date on there for when I documented this because, again, the thing with having young children right now is our nighttime routine, as it is in this moment, is not going to be the same routine throughout our life. So it will be really interesting and pretty cool to look back on journaling and stories from this kit in particular in the future to see just how much things have changed over the years. So now I'm moving on to my second story, and this one is going inside of my pocket page notebook, which is a traveler's notebook sized album that has pockets every other page. So what I'm going to do for this one is I took the card that says, at the end of the day, I'm feeling. I chopped off just the title portion and added that to the top of a journaling page. So this is a 4 1/4 by 8 1/4 journaling page. Again, you can see where I've added those really light gray circles because I'm going to use the cardstock sticker circles that have text in them to correlate with my journaling. So I started with end of the day, and then talked about at the beginning of the end of the day. And then I have night owl to talk about, being a night owl, and then so tired to talk about how I just stay up until I'm just really tired, so tired, I can't function anymore. And then, so on and so forth. So after I get the title adhered up at the top, and a little tiny portion I put down at the bottom as well, just to give it some bookends, I guess, for the text. And then I did go ahead and stick down all of those circles on top of their templated spot. So everything looks really good and evenly spaced, and I'm really liking the way that this is going. I do want to add my date stamp again to this. I'm trying to get better at adding my date stamping to all of my pages, and I'm proud of myself that I'm getting better at it for sure. So that is going to be my journaling. My photo, I'm just going to leave as a photo. So it's just going to be plain and inside the album. And then I also took one of the transparencies. So it's a 6x8 transparency, and I cut it down to 4¼ by 8¼ because since it's a transparency, it's a little bit larger than that. I believe it's 8¼ inches tall by roughly 7 inches wide. So I just trimmed off a little bit of the sides so that I can stick that piece down inside of the pocket. It does have a protective surface on it, so when you're working with that product, just make sure to go ahead and take that portion off. So now it's just all about adhering this into the book. I am using double-sided adhesive from scrapbook.com. It's score tape, and it's my favorite way to add pages into a traveler's notebook like this because it's really strong and I don't have to worry about the pages falling off over the years. I know that it's going to stay as it is. Here's where I'm sticking that transparency down inside of the pocket, and you can see that it just looks really cool right there. I really like the way that that works and gives this a little bit of like see-through aspect, like something that's just a little bit interesting about the page. And then I'm going to stick my photo down on the opposite side, and I'm not going to add any embellishments. I'm just going to leave it as it is, a fairly flat spread, but I still really love the way that this one comes together. All right, friends, so that completes my spreads for today. I love the way that both of these came out. They're both just really awesome stories, and I love how this kit pulled out so many different aspects of the evening and different stories that we can tell related to evenings. So I'm really looking forward to getting the rest of my stories told and to share those here with you as well. If you enjoyed this video, I would love a thumbs up down below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can catch all of my future crafty videos as well. If you are participating in StoryKitCrush, please tag me, or at least add the hashtag StoryKitCrush so I can check out your projects over on Instagram or, in other social media places, but primarily in Instagram is where I am seeing most of your work, because I love to read your stories and I love to share those with the community and elevate your projects as well. So I really look forward to seeing the stories that you are going to tell this month. One last thing I will mention is that for any of the stories, these two included, but any of the future ones as well, where I have created some sort of digital template to work with. So the traveler's notebook with the circle spots to add my stickers to, and then the 6x8 one over here that had the journaling sections all set up and everything oriented right. If the digital templates are something that you would be interested in receiving, those are part of the benefit to being one of my patrons inside of Patreon. So, just as an FYI, I generally give away all of my templates over in Patreon for any of the projects that I am creating, just because I'm making them for me, but they're also really awesome to have other people use as well for whatever story you're telling. So I just wanted to let you guys know that in case I haven't before. All right, so I am going to be back next week on Friday with my next stories. I believe all 3 of the remaining videos for this series this month will have 3 projects in them because I had so many stories come out of this project and I want to get them all told. So I believe either they're all going to have 3 or 2 of them have 3 and 1 has another 2, but they're all going to have more than 1 project in them. So heads up on that. I will be back next week with 3 new projects. So hopefully I will see you then. I've got other videos that we'll post in the meantime, so keep your eye out for those as well. All right, well, until next time, I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye, friends.